All right. Good morning, brothers. Welcome to the Week 8 recap for the Men Who Dream Fantasy Football League. Week 8 is in the books, and definitely a wild and crazy week, just like every week of fantasy football. We're going to go through quickly the matchups and talk about some quick highlights. First off, the Mighty Lions of Judah versus the Spiritual Mafia. 150 for the Mafia and 114 for the Lions of Judah. A couple of key performances. Jeremy Maclin, he was off the charts with 42 points. Sammy Watkins on Fed's team had 24. So good performance by him. And overall, a lot of solid performances fantasy-wise this past weekend. One interesting stat I was looking at here is the total number of one second here. There we go. The total number of folks that scored 30 or more points from last week was actually 9 individuals scored more than 30 points. One of those, of course, being Big Ben, who wasn't on anybody's team, so nobody was able to take advantage of that. So it'll be interesting to see who picks him up on the waiver wire this week. But great game with Fed. Definitely had me on the ropes until the end, and then Macklin just kind of took it away and won it big. So next game is the T-ville Canes versus Double Daughter Daddy. Double Daughter Daddy was the scoring leader for the week. So great job, Mike. Mike has an interesting team. A lot of powerhouse players, but not a lot of depth. So it'll be interesting what happens with the bye weeks for Mike and his team and how he manages through that. But if he can make it through that stretch, then I think he's got a good chance of having a really solid team, especially into the playoffs. Unfortunately, Aaron just didn't have the ability to really make it happen with Michael's strong team. Definitely a key performance by let's see here, key players on Michael's team. Of course, Antonio Brown, Emmanuel Sanders. Even the Chiefs defense showed up in a big way. So a huge game by Michael Anton. And next matchup rather, is the Watchmen versus the BCU 59ers. This was actually the lowest scoring matchup of the week. Mark was able to win this one with a score of 105, and BCU had a score of 88. His team definitely struggled this week. But for Mark, Brandon LaFell was a huge person on his roster. And then, of course, for Zach, Martellus Bennett was also huge as well. So great job, Mark, for winning that one. You kind of got lucky on the matchup there, because if you had matched up with most any other team, you would have either tied or lost. So you were kind of right in the middle of the pack there. Next up, probably the upset of the week was the Be More Brawlers against the Steel Curtain Bulldogs. I was happy to see Phil win this one, as Reg just beat me last week. So great job, Phil. 142 to 98. On Reg's side, Jamal Charles has just been huge. He's been a stud. 27 points this past weekend. And then on Phil's side, Gronkowski is amazing. He's finally gotten into the rhythm, and looks like he's back to his old self again with 41 points. So great job, Phil, and even Reg. You've had a great season so far as well at 5-3. So you're still definitely strong and hanging in there for sure. Next matchup, we've got the Mr. Jefferson Starship, Bobby Pearson, 158 to 103 by the Perfectville Fins. Again, another upset victory. Nice victory by Bobby. Several key performances on his squad gave a huge victory there. Just to highlight a few. Just a solid performance across the board, honestly. Golden Tate, he's been a stud. Dolphins defense, that was a big victory for them. DeMarco Murray, Aaron Rodgers. He had 4 players with more than 20 fantasy points in a given week. So definitely a huge performance. And even though Rob had Matt Forte, who got him a whopping 30, just wasn't enough for the Studley performances on Bobby's squad. So great job, Bobby, and better luck next week for Rob. Lastly, we have the Paisano Pete's Roadrunners, 122 against Don't Stop Believin', Ryan's team of 137. So great victory, Ryan. Definitely pulled that one away. And you guys are both tied at 5-3. And interesting victory. You guys are both tied for first in your division as well. So a lot of good stuff going on there. Andrew Luck has just been amazing this year. He was definitely a good pickup, and the Vikings defense too. That's crazy. 26 points for them. And then on the other side of the ball, Peyton Manning. Don't need to really say much about him. He's just Peyton Manning. T.Y. Hilton, Randall Cobb. Even though Green Bay lost, Cobb had a big game, and it was good to see him get some points. So that is our recap for the week. Let's quickly look at the standings. A lot of interesting activity. Paisano Pete and Steel Curtain Bulldogs are first, tied for first in Antioch. The Perfectville Fins and T-ville Canes, Perfectville Fins are first place in Corinth. In in Babylon, Double Daughter Daddy is holding it down there. And then in Damascus, Spiritual Mafia and Don't Stop Believin' are both tied for first place. So interesting to see how things pan out at this point in time. We've got a lot of strong contenders, and even the teams that are not currently ahead. There's quite a few. There's 3, 4, and 4 teams, and then 2 teams that are toward the end of the pack. But there's still enough time that even those teams could pull something away. But great week, guys. Definitely appreciate everyone being active and involved in the league, and hopefully we all have a great week coming up. I'll just throw something out there. If you guys could be praying for me, I am on the job search right now. I recently lost my job, so just be praying for me. I've got a couple of interviews and things going on in the pipeline, but definitely just asking for some prayers. So until next week, don't forget to pay attention to the waivers and make it a great one.